Hello and welcome back to Goldbound. As always, let's start with a quick recap of the rules. We are locked in a zone until we've earned enough gold to buy our next Freedom Pass, and this time the goal is 150 gold before we can leave Ashenvale. All items must come from questing or looting. I can sell goods on the auction house, but I am not allowed to buy anything from it. Only after reaching the required gold amount, I can obtain one item of my choice and unlock a neighboring zone to continue the journey. It's been a while since the last episode. Switching between two challenges and taking a few breaks had an unexpected advantage though. Plenty of rested experience, and reaching higher levels faster here in Ashenvale means we can finally access better farming grounds, like the big spiders to the east of the zone. Before diving into the grind, I picked up where we left off with Rain's Cleansing, one of those quest lines that I enjoy a lot, but it ends up unfinished on most of my characters. Because if you complete it, you lose the Rod of Transformation, which turns you into a Fullberg, which is one of those unique items that just feels too special to give up. So we're keeping it. Then I headed back to our usual farm route. The one I'm pretty sure I could navigate blindfolded now. Keeping an eye out for spiders, ore veins, herbs and chests, I started to notice how quiet this area had become. No competition, no distractions, just slow, consistent farming. And while the peace was nice, I wanted to mix things up a bit. For a change of scenery, I made a short trip to Xavier to farm some satyrs. They're easy to kill, drop a fair amount of cloth, and it's at least something different visually. Unfortunately, the cloth market is pretty saturated right now, so while it felt productive, it wasn't exactly profitable. The spiders turned out to be disappointing again. It's been quite a while since we had our last Venom Sac loot by this point. At least a large knapsack dropped instead. A 12 slot bag, not the sack I was here for, but I take it. Between farming sessions, I kept checking the enchantment vendor, hoping to restock on profitable formulas.
Remember, ravioli, give me the formuoli.
As you know by now, some of them sell surprisingly well, but as with most things on the auction house, timing is everything. Next, I went for a quick detour at the Elemental Bracers quest. And when I say quick, that's a bit optimistic. That quest felt like it took forever. Still, the experience helped push me closer to the next level, and by that, to new areas. After that, it was right back to farming. By this point, I was starting to question if Blizzard had stealth removed Venom Sacs from the loot table entirely. Dozens of spiders and nothing. Eventually, I reached level 28 and decided it was time to explore new hunting grounds. I ventured further east, hoping that the larger spiders would finally drop what I was looking for. And after a long time, one finally did. Just one, but at least that confirmed that they still existed. In the process, I discovered that the coastline along the South Furry River was actually a really solid farming spot. Rich ore veins, occasional herbs, and a lot of spiders. It had a bit of everything, and more mining opportunities than the last spot by far. Even if the Venom Sacs weren't dropping yet, the iron ore and briar thorn made it worthwhile. After cleaning out my new favorite spot, I returned back to the river delta. I had some real issues gathering some of the herbs there. So, to break things up a little, let's play a game. Find the life root. Sometimes looking at herbs for hours on end really does make your eyes hurt. I know the sparkle effect on lootables that was added in Wrath of the Lich King was not the best decision in terms of immersion, but doing this challenge I really started to miss it. By the way, during one of my grinding sessions I ran into a strange bug. My talent tree disappeared. Even after reloading the UI, restarting the game and relogging, nothing fixed it. If any of you ever experienced something like that, let me know, I'm curious. A bit later, it was finally time for a first auction house check-in. With only 2 large Venom Sacs at this time around, I was really hoping that the enchantments I had been gathering would do some work. I didn't want to post them all at once, that would just flood the market and I would tank the price myself, it already looked a little crowded. Instead, I listed them gradually and checked what else was moving. From the looks of it, iron bars, heavy stone and stranglekelp were selling well at the time. Everything else, not so much. So, patience was going to be key. Once that was taken care of, I moved toward the Howling Vale. Partly because Gathermate showed some Steelbloom spawns and ore veins there. The enemies in that area are skinnable, which was tempting, but since they drop heavy leather at best, it wasn't quite profitable enough to justify dropping mining or herbalism for skinning. While farming in that area, I also completed another side quest. Back at the river, after finding a few more iron veins, I finally reached the point where I could mine gold ore. It's rare and not as coveted as other ores, and by that not as profitable. But it's a nice milestone, and it adds a sense of progress to the grind. Smelting it also helps to increase my mining to quite a high level. Thanks to all the rested experience, I reached level 29 fairly quick. Not being able to switch zones, for example to Stone-Talon Mountains, makes rested experience even more valuable than usual, since it lets me progress efficiently while staying within the challenge limits. This session I actually got a little luckier with the Venom Sacs too. I decided to tick off a few more high-level quests around Xavian. After turning them in, it was finally time for another step in the Nessus. Unfortunately, the profit margins were still fairly low, so I decided to hold onto some items for a while rather than selling them immediately. This strategy had been working for me so far. I stayed in the Nessus for a bit, relisting items and keeping an eye on prices before heading back to Ashenvale. I wrapped up the Fallen Sky Lake and Forsaken Disease quests and even got a nice shoulder piece while doing so, but since equipment is not exactly a game changer for me as a hunter right now, I decided to sell it instead. Every little bit counts towards the goal. While tying up loose ends, I went satyr slaying again and completed another quest. After handing in Forsaken Diseases and a bit more grinding, I reached level 30. A small but satisfying milestone. I continued farming along the shores of the South Ferry River, gathering high-level materials. With my new level, I moved on to Fellfire Hill for more Steelbloom, gold and iron ore. I even came across Grom's Blood, but as mentioned in a previous episode, my herbalism skill wouldn't be high enough for that. After one last farming round and a few more stops at the enchantment vendor, I returned to the Nessus, as I had a feeling that selling our latest hauls, we should be very close to our goal of 150 gold. And as you can see, getting those enchantments from time to time really paid off. In total, we are sitting at just over 160 gold, exceeding the gold bond limit for Ashenvale by 10 gold. If you take into account that we already have a mount waiting in the bank, that brings the total gold amount to roughly 250 at level 30. In summary, I think what I enjoy most about this challenge is how it changes your perspective on areas like this. You start paying attention to small things, hidden vendor flips, obscure farming spots or low-level items that suddenly become valuable. Going into Ashenvale, I was so sure that buying and selling cookbooks would be one of my biggest sources of income, but it turned out to be too unreliable, with very high auction house fees diminishing the profit. I wouldn't have thought that the enchantment formulas would perform so well. Being located right next to the inn, they are super convenient to pick up. If you quest around Ashenvale, you should definitely give it a try. So, that wraps up Ashenvale. I will probably focus on my Murloc challenge, and I also have a few new ideas in mind. Goldbound might be on a short break for now, but please let me know which zone I should unlock next. I could take a ship to the wetlands, opening the Eastern Kingdoms up for exploration. I could try to find new and lucrative spots in Stone Talon, or I could go fishing for deviate fish in the Barrens 10 hours straight. I even thought about dyeing my way through Ashara or Fellwood, collecting herbs and ores along the way, but that might not be the most entertaining thing to watch or record, to be honest. So, let me know what area we should unlock next. If you have any other ideas in terms of challenges or some other feedback, feel free to drop a comment. Also, as a short side quest and to wrap things up, I completed the Goldbound challenge for Mists of Pandaria. Playing this version of WoW felt great and refreshing for a while, but I noticed it's just not for me at the moment. Collecting the last few remaining coins for my heirloom was easy enough, so it's nice to bring some closure to this challenge. I hope that's okay for you. As always, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Bye.